Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, stay out all night. But sure, I've had some better times. And I can't count all the tears I could write. And maybe down my last night. Yeah, but the blues took me just fine.
Need to get done. I already wrote that.
Okay, then I'll leave it alone. All right, here we go. Welcome to the KGXT studios, the Gen X Talks podcast, broadcasting 200 feet below occupied California. And we're back again.
A day late, a dollar short.
A day late and $1 short. I think last week I put up the audio version,
Yeah.
but I did not get the video version up because I'm trying to, and I don't know if you know this or not, but you saw how Grant from Torquestrap, he's just a Torquestrap guy. He knows nothing about, no formal training on editing. But his little shorts, his videos are so badass
Yeah.
that I'm like, I wish I could redo my whole thing.
I also liked his setup where there weren't computer monitors in front of everybody's faces.
Wow. Wow. You just hurt my feelings. Because his is just set up for
It's
a podcast.
clean.
It's just podcasting. He doesn't actually have to work there. I have to work here too.
I understand.
I don't think you do understand. I'll tell you what, if we bought 4 cameras on 4 tripods that had little SD cards, I could get rid of all this stuff too.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to buy any more stuff. You've put a halt on me about buying things.
Well, yeah.
So that goes for you too.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want to bitch and complain that there's too many monitors on all of our desks in the studio, but you won't allow me to rectify the problem.
That is correct. Not till we move.
What? We're not moving for another year. That's ridiculous. Do you guys see what I put up with here? The stupidness that I put
I
up
know
with?
he's hoping that this studio right here gets sold so he can make a bigger, badder ass
Yeah,
one.
when we sell the house, if they want to buy the studio, I'm going to up the price and I say, you can have the studio. Well, they can't have the gear in it.
No. I'm
gear.
just talking about the building.
Yeah, but if they say, yeah, we'll buy the studio, and the everything built in, go ahead. But they're paying for it. They're going to pay the whole price. And if they want it, they can have it. And then otherwise, there can be a hole in the ground right here, and they can put up a swing set for all I care. I'm taking it with me. Although Low Torque and I we get drunk in the backyard.
Yeah.
Which if Trippy comes up this weekend, I don't think he will, but if he comes up this weekend and Low Torque said he'd come over, then we can all get drunk and we can talk about, will this studio structurally make it on the back of my trailer? You're shaking your head. Will it make it from here all the way to Dayton, Nevada?
No,
How do you know?
there's no way.
Why? What would go wrong?
It's too wide for your trailer.
Oh, yeah.
It's going
It is.
to hang off on both edges.
You put it on the fenders. Okay.
It's not going to fit.
Would it make it on any trailer?
On any trailer? The trailer's got to be really wide. They don't have, there's no way.
So we get Loud One out here from Loud Trouble LLC.
Yes.
And we get a crane like we did before.
And do what?
We set it on the back of a flatbed of his semi and have him drive it up.
Still going to be wide.
This would fit on the back of a flatbed semi. Yes, it would. Come
How
on.
wide is this?
12 feet.
That's the same distance between lanes of a freeway or lanes of a road. 12 feet. You have 12 feet to stay in that lane.
Okay, so we tie some red flags on it and go.
It's going to hang off of both sides.
You said it wouldn't. You said it'd fit.
No, I said it'll fit in the lane.
There. Well, that's what we need to be in the lane.
Oh my gosh.
You telling me this is going
I
to
am
take a
not
special
participating
permit
in
to
that.
pull?
I bet you.
Well, then it has to get sold with the house. They're going to have to up the price and just suck it up, Buttercup, and deal with it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you should have planned this out better before.
That's not. What do you mean, me? You're the one that wanted this thing. You and the kid. Got to build a studio.
Go build. See, why do we sound okay? Why
Because
when
you guys are dumb.
Why do I sound dumb when you imitate me? You go build a studio. Go build a studio. I don't sound like that. I may have said words like, "Hey, we should build a studio."
That's what you sound like in my brain.
Yeah. Now that I believe. That's
in my head.
That
you're just
may
like,
be how you. That may be how you hear it, yes.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
All right, well, I don't sound that way.
Oh, gosh.
So, we talked a little bit with the listeners on KGXT Radio before we started the podcast, and you fucked up. You went to Las Vegas, and I'm
Wait a second.
Yeah, what?
How did I mess everything up?
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I haven't told you this. I held this back.
Oh, of course you did, just for the podcast.
Just for the podcast. That's right.
All right, go ahead.
Our listeners are the jury. I
They're going to
submit
side with me.
evidence. Blindly, they'd have to, because they'd have to ignore evidence.
Well, they're the jury, so.
I'm submitting evidence right now. You went and you did a great thing. You had Grammy time. You went with our grandson. You went to Las Vegas. You spent a few days babysitting, and because they had to work and be gone and do stuff. That was great. And you had a wonderful time with him. You had a great time. However, you ate so terrible that the next day on the way home, I picked you up from the airport, drove you 2 hours here, and you were hurting in the truck. You were hurting that day. You were hurting all night. You didn't do good the next day. In other words, if you ruined. You ruined it. You ruined it. The next day, you ruined yourself because you didn't take care of yourself. Now, if you and I go to Vegas and we party and run around town naked, and I do that with you, and we drink and do stuff, I'm with you if we lose a couple days afterwards, because I had the enjoyment of hanging out with you and fucking around for a couple days, and we've done that before. But when you go to Vegas without me and you're doing family kid Grammy stuff, and you come home and go, I'm out for the next day. You're just taking up my time.
Oh,
I could have spent time with you, and you've ruined it because you weren't eating correctly, because you were down for the count, and you knew why.
Oh, I knew why.
You told me, you said, don't tell Marcy because she's going to be mad.
She understands.
She understands. She can't.
And I was tired on top of it.
Right. But the point of the moral of the story here is that you burned up a day that we could have spent together because you were careless with a grandson.
We did spend the day together.
Yeah. You were in bed all day and I walked around doing everything.
Not true.
That's true.
You're so full of shit. It's not true.
It's mostly true.
No, I don't think so.
Well, anyway, so yeah, you fucked that up and you ruined a day of it. You didn't follow directions. But again, everybody out there, marcyzavala.com, she can put you on a path where if you follow what she tells you, you're better.
And you'll know when you go off your plan what the reason is. Like I knew.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as it happened, I was like, yeah, I'm going to pay for this. So at least I'm aware. And you're always going to test it. You're always going to test.
Can I get away with
Can you get away just a little bit?
How much gluten pizza can I get away with?
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. But I know that I overindulged when I was with the grandson. So,
Yeah.
That happened.
Well, just letting you know I wasn't happy about that. But for those of you out there not understanding, my wife had cancer and survived it 10 years ago. 10 years of joint pain and muscle pain. We tried everything. We flew to every country on earth. We tried every voodoo ritual, every potion that came in a cup or a bottle, until marcyzavala.com got a hold of her. And now you have a back pain because you hurt your back. But other than that joint pain you've been living with for all those years, gone.
Is gone.
Until you fuck up in Las Vegas and come home and you're like you did.
Yeah, it's just inflammation. So gluten causes inflammation in your joints. So too much of that will cause pain. So that is my thing.
Speaking of fooling around in Las Vegas, let me bring something up on the topic of fooling around. When you and I are playing, when we're fooling around, little husband and wife, little badonkadonk time coming on, I need you to not put on your glasses after we've begun.
Why?
What do you mean why? You mean why? What do you mean why? Yes, I like it in the beginning.
I thought, we're playing the little teacher thing going on and stuff.
Sexy, little teacher action there with your glasses. That's different than, see, when you do that, it's like you're sexy, you're hot, you're classy, you got your glasses on, everything's going good.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't know if I'm speaking for all guys.
What's the problem?
When you put your glasses on after we're fooling around has begun, to me, it looks like you're putting on your glasses and you're like, oh, there it is. Now that I got my glasses. Oh, there it is down there. Why do you need to put on your glasses? Everything at that point in the conversation, everything should be readily available. And when you grab your glasses, it looks like you're trying to, like you. I keep thinking.
It's probably habit.
I hope she's going.
Sorry.
I hope she's going for a splinter. I hope there's a splinter. She needs her glasses to go.
Let me get that splinter
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
hoping that's what you're doing, because if you put them on, it's like, oh, don't.
There's the little feller.
There, they see. Don't do that. That I know it's dumb, but it makes such a difference in timing when you put the glasses on.
All right, I will be aware.
Thank you. Okay.
I'll just keep them off.
No, just put them on, but just don't reach for them after
All right.
playtime has started.
All
That
right.
really
I hear
is
ya.
a kick in the nuts to a guy. I don't know. So anyway, I was going to tell you. Do you remember what's the guy's name from Torquestrap? We went down to.
Your BFF bromance Grant.
Okay, you've literally said that about every guy I talk to now.
Oh, but this one's bad. You've got it bad for this guy.
You gotta shut up.
No,
So-
it's pathetic. You even have to talk to him when he's in China. It's like a girlfriend relationship here. It's
It
pathetic.
is not true.
Oh my God. You talk to him more than you talk to me. And I'm in the same house.
He's interesting. I
Ouch.
know all your stuff. He's
Oh.
got stuff I don't know about.
Oh my gosh. I bet you were on the phone with him a lot while I was gone. Getting to know him.
Don't you talk bad about Grant. I like him.
See? Yeah, what
So-
about his podcast?
so
It's
we-
like invent, develop.
No, it's prosper. Wait.
I don't know.
Invent-
develop,
In-
prosper.
That's the one. Invent, develop, prosper.
Well,
So
at least we got that out.
yeah, at least we're on the same page on that.
Jeez.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we both put on our glasses at the same time in that one. We're okay. No problems there. So we go down there, and he has his studio set up. And I did scroll through some of his podcasts before we went down there to get the lay of the land.
Okay.
And it is about inventions, and it's about developing them and what you do and how you market them. And
Since
how,
he's been through it.
yeah, super smart on that
Okay.
stuff. So we went down, and you were there. We went through the interview. All we talked about was like Gen X Talks and a little bit of his stuff. That was it.
Okay. That's what I thought we were there for.
It's an invention podcast. Do you know how many things I thought we were going to talk about? I mean, I had a list of inventions.
Okay. What? Like all the shower diagrams and things that you put on the shower and all the drawings and all the soap that you've used? And
Yes.
that's what you wanted to talk about?
Why wouldn't I? I've been putting drawings on the shower door, the glass, for years. I've got all these really cool inventions ready to go, and nothing. He never even asked.
Did you cry in your pillow?
No, you didn't even bring it up. You never.
No,
even,
I didn't know that's what we were down there for.
You didn't even say, by the way, on your invention podcast, my husband
Has wasted so much soap and energy and time in the bathroom drawing on the shower stalls that he needs to talk to somebody
probably
about
wouldn't
this.
have gone that far with Grant. It probably would have left that part out. Could you just
Why?
say pen and paper?
No, because that's not what you use.
Okay, but that's not what
I've
you
spent hours cleaning the shower.
wiping away my
Yes,
inventions. Yeah, thank
yes.
you for that. That's not something you don't walk into the patent office with a shower door in your hand. Okay, that's just.
I wouldn't be surprised if you took pictures of it.
I did some of them. I had to.
Oh, see, I
because
knew
I
it.
couldn't remember, and I knew you're going to wipe them off. I've gone back and taken pictures of
That's
stuff.
just pathetic.
That's called smart. One day, there's going to be like a zombie apocalypse, and one of my inventions is going to save the world.
My gosh.
And you're going to say, "Thank God you took a picture of that shower door."
Oh, okay. So, did you bring this up to Grant that you didn't get to talk about your inventions?
A little bit, but I was like, "Dude, you just didn't even talk about inventions," and he kind of blew me off. Like, "Dude, what are you talking about? You don't invent shit."
Oh.
So we moved on. But I'm just
So
saying.
that was the first fight of your relationship?
oh my God, there's no relationship there.
I beg to differ.
I'm just saying it was a little disappointing to be on an invention podcast, having all these shower door inventions and not be able to talk
I'm
about it.
sorry.
Because I was psyched.
Do you need a Kleenex?
No, I'm fine. I'm a big boy. I don't care.
Oh, you do care. You just don't want to say anything about it. Oh my gosh.
Well,
Does he owe you a 3-part apology?
I don't know, because did he know that I had inventions? No. But you think he would have had a little common courtesy and said something? He didn't do it. So it bothers me a little bit.
Oh, there's
All
a
right.
little bump in the relationship.
But, okay, there's
We'll
not
have
a
to come
relationship.
back on this one.
Quit saying that. Just like you tell me that I'm in a bromance with Low Torque just because He writes 30 paragraphs to me.
Oh my gosh. I
Maybe-
swear.
Maybe he's venting. You ever think of that?
Okay.
I'll say something to Low. Now, this is true. I'll say a little something to Low Torque. I'll text him, and he'll write back 4 or 5 pages. And I answer it with, a couple sentences, and he'll write back 4 or 5 pages.
All I'm envisioning is, how is he typing all that on his little phone?
I thought about that too. I think his voice to text is spectacular because he never misspells anything. All his words are right, and he always tells me, "I'm driving right now. I'm on the 405 parking
So
lot."
he just talks to the air. He just talks to the air and, hey, take notes for me, please.
Well, this is a very powerful man who can.
Hey, Siri, take notes.
That's right. Google, take a note for me. Text the general up there, and then so.
And we will begin now.
So
Like a therapy session. You're his journal.
But I'm his dear diary.
Dear Diary
So
Mark.
He will send tons of stuff, but that's not me having a bromance with him. I'm just responding. I'm being a good, solid friend, giving him, taking what he's saying,
Okay.
give a response.
Okay, then yours and Grant's is a little bit weird.
Oh my God, we're back to that again. I'm telling you, you can't, you label all these things completely incorrectly. You really do. All right.
You guys, I can't even tell you how many text messages they go through every single day.
Between that and my phone calls, I was actually turning things down between this morning. When
It's
you and I were
ridiculous.
working, I had to put my phone inside the kitchen because there's no way I could have.
I know.
We couldn't have. We had to put the phone
horrendous.
away. So everyone's going to ask about Briggs. In fact, everyone is asking about Briggs.
I'm asking about Briggs, and I'm his mom.
Well, you were gone. Yeah.
Yes.
And the way we left it, you guys knew that he was really struggling with, and we all know this passes. So don't yell at the radio and go, that passes. Don't worry about it. I know. I've raised 32 kids. All right. This last batch of 8, I got it. But he was having an emotional time moving out. He was telling me he was homesick. He told his listeners on his show he was homesick. The money part is tough on him.
I bet.
The not having access to cans of soda, food in the fridge, food in the pantry, this is a big adjustment for him to do this.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't have any other life outside of Cutco knives. So he spends 12 hours a day down there trying to get up enough money to earn his keep. Now, this whole thing is upsetting. He's not sure if he made the right decision. He's not sure if Cutco was the way to go, but we told him you need to get a job, and things were getting so frustrating around here with his laziness about doing things. I was at a point of you just got to go because you're not going to let me teach you these lessons. The world's going to have to teach you these lessons.
Absolutely.
So, but when he did that, you started to have a meltdown because the couple times he came back here, like you said before, you found him sitting on our bed, just welling up with tears. He was sitting on the bed trying to be close to you, I think, without actually telling you he was having a hard time.
Didn't you always, when you were younger, always felt good and like your parents, like when you were tiny? I mean, but also on Briggs's thing, remember how much he used to crawl at 2 years old,
Yeah.
3 years old, crawl into our bed,
Yep.
and you just feel safe. So maybe that's just
I'm
a
sure.
connection.
100%. It's the same bed. It's the same room. He's grown up with his whole life. He gets it.
Yeah.
But when you left for Vegas, you knew he was coming over, and you were having a meltdown emotionally, going, "Don't make this worse on him."
Yes.
Because as the dad, I could have gone into "I told you so. I warned you."
I didn't want you to do that.
Because he's teetering emotionally on this. And so I remember you trying to find a way to get me to promise I'll fix it all.
No, I wasn't. I just wanted it. Those words that you want to say to him are something you're going to have to say, for sure. But I didn't think at that moment in time where things are still new with him and still fresh and still upsetting to him, I don't think any person wants to hear, "I told you so," or,
Well, nobody wants to hear "I told you so" ever.
Yeah.
But you were very clear. You were trying to beg me to make this. You didn't want me just to be quiet. You wanted me to make it okay. So I did.
Yes, you did.
When you were gone and Briggs came over, I was, "Hey, happy to see you. How's it going?" And he wanted to do a couple things for me around here. He did them. He did not do them correctly. I didn't say anything right then. There's time for correction later. I knew you wanted the balance in his head to shift to where he enjoyed being home.
Yes.
And he did. He had lunch and we talked and we did Gen X Talk stuff and we laughed and we shared stories. And by the time he was leaving, he felt, okay, my home is still my rock. It is still my safe place. I can still go home to mom and dad's. I'm accepted and loved and everything. He left not feeling bad about being here.
That's what I wanted.
I knew that's what you wanted. So I did it. But I want you to know there was parts of it that were against my nature.
I know that.
I wanted to point out, like, well, you've been back for 1 hour. I've asked you to do 2 things, and you fucked both of them up. You couldn't even do the 2 things I asked you. There was a few things like that but
I understand, but he didn't need that right now.
How do you not need instruction when you're fucking something up?
He just needed to know that home life was still okay.
I'm not saying that my behavior was correct, because there's a part of me that I need to correct him when he's fucking something up. And I'm not worried about his feelings. I don't care about his feelings. Just want to tell him, you're fucking up, fix it. I only did that one day for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, just letting you know.
Thank you.
He's out. He is now, the more time that passes, the stronger he'll feel away.
Absolutely.
The part that I'm struggling with is his, maybe not, I don't know what you want to say, involvement with Gen X Talks or commitment. I don't know. But he's not, okay, let me say this wrong. Let me say it wrong first. He's not as interested. Now, he comes over on Mondays. Mondays is his day. He's supposed to come over Monday. He has 2 shows that he does, which one he really loves. The big show. I love watching him do those, the jukebox show with the music.
I do too.
He's got 2 shows. He helps out with the movie. He does a bunch of Gen X Talk stuff in between with me. But it's almost like when he leaves here, he doesn't participate in the staff thread on texting very much.
No, he separated himself from it.
But this is his company.
I understand that.
This is his thing.
This is the immaturity and the young in him. He doesn't see the future of Gen X Talks. I don't think he realizes that what he's sitting on could possibly be a huge gold mine.
I know, and we've never explored money with this. We're just now beginning to accept maybe some advertisement. We've never done that.
No.
And so now we're like, hey, maybe we should see if somebody would be willing to pay to be part of the program. Maybe we're cool enough that someone would say, yeah, here's a couple bucks. And this is the moment he's walking away.
I know.
Now, there's a couple things that bother me, even though, and this goes to being a man and your commitment. Now, no one has shook his hand and said, all right, do you agree that you'll be this much part of Gen X Talks? Do you agree? There's no terms. So he could be involved a lot or a little and be fulfilling his terms because there aren't any.
Yeah.
But the other day we had a staff meeting and he didn't show up and he told everybody, I have no internet. Well, you have a cell phone, motherfucker. And other people show up on their cell phones. People have been showing up for staff meetings in Discord, virtual Zoom calls on their cell phones since the beginning of time.
I'm sorry.
So he turns around. There's one yawn. That's
I'm
one.
sorry.
The over-under is now down to 3, but it used to be 6. But
Okay.
it's there. One yawn out of the way. But he, back to Briggs, we were in the staff meeting and I made mention of it. And a couple people on staff said, I'm glad you brought that up because this is shitty. He's fucking the head of the company and tries to tell everybody there's no internet where he is, so he can't be part of the staff meeting. Everybody literally said that was bullshit because they're on their phones. You go to the parking lot and get on your fucking phone.
Oh, no.
He could have driven here. He's only 4 miles away. That part bothers me, that just like we had all these discussions in staff meeting and we needed to hire, another moderator, needed to bring some staff on. So a couple of people in staff nominated without just a Disney kid. And we've known him for years. And so
Kids on YouTube, for those of you that don't know, that's listening to the podcast.
yeah, he's a great guy. I've been part of the Gen X Talks fan base family
For 2 years.
for over 2 years.
Yeah.
So I approached him and said, hey, we need some help moderating. And he's like, I was born for this. Disney Kid says he like a lot of people, they schedule dinner and chores around the shows where they can be part of the shows. And then he goes, you wouldn't even know it, General, but when I show up for the show to watch the show, I wear a Gen X Talk shirt.
I love that.
I'm like, that's badass, man.
That's
so
awesome.
we bring him on board and he introduced him to the staff and bring him on with the staff. And the kid calls me, goes, "Oh, so we got a new staff member, huh?" I'm like, if you'd have been paying attention to any fucking part of this, you'd know that already.
I know.
That bothers me.
Well, that's what I think needs to go. We just got to keep it moving forward, and hopefully, his head pops out of his ass and he realizes. So I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is with that.
I don't either.
I don't know if we will ever have the answer for that, but
I don't know. I know the way things are right now and what he does for his participation. I get it. And it's enough. It is enough right now. He keeps his videos going a little bit. He keeps his shows going a little bit. It's enough, but it's not nearly the dedication he had in the beginning.
I know.
And the effort. It's a little bit tough for me. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I understand. A lot of it is on your shoulders now.
So speaking of kids, everyone wants a Jade update also. I told you guys last podcast that she wrote that.
Oh, that mushy sonnet.
Yeah, it was like 13 paragraphs long.
Shakespearean sonnet.
It was. What did she say? She's like,
I don't know.
When the
birds are chirping and life was great.
And they're calling your
loved
name.
me with all your heart. And I gave you my heart and my soul. And you stomped on it.
It was weirder than that.
I know.
It was, as the sun melts into the Pacific Ocean, so does my heart with you. I mean,
it was like a really bad country song. It really was. I was not answering that. I heard her. She was telling you it. And I sat there going.
I thought you were going to bust out laughing. I was going to be so mad if you did. I was like,
no,
don't laugh.
I kept it to myself.
And I remember I told her, I said, don't send that. She goes, I already did. I go, don't send another one. Don't ever say that. That's a complete bullshit.
Did she ever talk to you after that?
Well, she got her feelings hurt when I said that.
Oh,
I go,
yeah, I know.
I go, I don't care if you're mad at me. Never send, when you break up with a guy, never send him 13 paragraphs of some Hamlet.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever that was. So she was mad, but we talked afterwards, but she has not.
The only thing you send to a guy that is an idiot, you go, fuck you, and move on. 2 simple words. So did she say anything? Has she seen him? Well,
No.
she sees him at work.
She sees him at work, and she did admit, she goes, I should not have dated someone at work. And I said, yeah.
So that saying is true.
Yeah.
Don't shit where you eat.
Don't shit where you eat.
She didn't listen.
Nope. But she used to give him rides to work, to and from, does not. She does not sit with him at lunch anymore. She takes her breaks differently. I don't know where this is going to go.
But note to you guys, he's not doing his end of it. He's not chasing her down.
No, he's not doing. I've asked. I said, so does he send you flowers? No. Does he tell you he's sorry? No. Does he text you and say? Does he even drunk? I figure you drunk text. You get drunk and you're a guy. You're like, fuck that. I'm not calling her. I'm not texting her. But then you get drunk and you remember and you're like, oh my god. Yeah, you get weepy. You come home, and she goes, no, he doesn't do that at all. And I said,
there's your answer.
Yeah, but she's distancing herself, but it's super slow. It's almost like she's just waiting for enough days to go by, and then she's going to be like, okay, it's been 63 days and I'm done. But right now she tells me every day hurts. Every day is painful. She misses him every day. And I go, all right, I've only got one rule for that. Don't tell him. Just don't tell him. Other than that, you're allowed to be in pain. You're allowed to suffer going out with your girlfriends, but don't tell him, because then he's got you right where he wants you and you're going to come back.
Yeah. What do you think's like the number of days you're allowed to do that before it gets like, I don't know. I just never did that with a guy. Yes, it hurt when we broke up, but it didn't last for like 60 days or whatever.
One time I broke up with a girl. She broke up with me. And I remember wanting to cut my arm off if it would make the pain go away. I remember telling my buddy Steve Austin, I said, Steve, this hurts so bad. If you were to tell me right now, hey, man, I can cut your arm off and the pain in your heart will go away, I would tell you to cut my arm. I couldn't take it. I could not take it. And it was 9 months before my first day of going, okay, I feel better now. One day, 9 months. I remember it so vividly. It was like being in jail for 9 months. I hated it.
That's the difference between you and me.
Oh yeah, I know. You can cut bait and be over stuff quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got better at it later, but that particular one was horrible. That was terrible on me.
All right.
So,
So today,
So where she's at, I think she's on day
I don't know.
17 or 18 of staying clear, not communicating, and trying to just move on. That's what I think. That's my observation. But now we're dealing with something different with her.
Yeah, because last weekend she hurt herself at work first, remember? She hit her funny bone really, really hard at work on something. I can't remember what it was, but enough that, you know, when you hit your funny bone and it sends that really weird, it hits that nerve or whatever where your whole hand goes tingly and stuff. Well, that's what happened. And it bothered her for the day. And they sent her, I guess they have a nurse on staff.
Yeah.
That they checked it and they said that they offered her the day off, the rest of the day off.
She said no.
But she said
goes,
no.
There's something else I can do around here. And they said, yeah, we got some other stuff you could do. So she goes, well, I want to stay and work. I don't want to go home.
Yeah.
And they caught it on video where she hit her arm. They showed her. And she says, I just turned around wrong. And she hit her elbow backing into something that was a sharp edge. And she goes, I didn't see. I've been in that position 300 times.
Right.
She goes, I just never bumped my elbow on it. And that time she dropped what she had in her hand. And she said, I don't want to go home. I want to work.
The other thing is that she works in a big, huge distribution center that has swamp coolers, I believe.
Right.
And we are here in Central California doing over 100 degrees easy. Some days are getting up to like 110.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows what it's like in that kind of temperature and you're working in a distribution center and you're moving and you're grooving and it's hot outside, the temperature inside is kind of unbearable at times. So she's struggling with that and learning how to cool herself down.
Yeah, she has a big problem keeping cool.
Yeah, and she doesn't drink enough water.
Well, and let's paint the whole picture real quick just to catch everybody up. She's working in a warehouse where all she does is walk the length of the warehouse all day long.
Pulling parts.
She's not used to the heat, but she's working through it.
Right.
She's working with the guy she's trying to forget, which is hard. And then when she comes home to try to forget him, she bought that computer and she's gaming again, which leads her. Well, the gaming does occupy her mind, but then she keeps doing it till 2 a.m. because she doesn't want to think about him. Well, guess what? She's got to be at work at 6 a.m. So now you're gaming till late at night. You're not getting much sleep. You're going to work in a place that's very difficult to work. It's hot. It's strenuous. And the guys there you don't want. She's just compounded all of these things and trying to work her way through it. And again, a big one she could have avoided if she'd have listened to me and not dated a guy she worked with. That would have been a huge factor right there. That would have been one of her problems eliminated.
Absolutely.
So we don't know. I don't know much more than that. She has missed work for various things. This morning she didn't go to work. In fact, you told me that, so I knocked on her door. And she goes, she doesn't feel well. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she was up till 4 a.m. playing video games. I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't feel well. But she's going through a tumultuous time with this guy. And she's not gaining any traction. And the entire audience can say, well, here's what you got to do is you got to move on. And you got to put that behind you. And you got to, we all know the answers. It doesn't mean they're easy to apply.
Yep.
They don't. It's very difficult when you're the person.
She can't lose her job either. That's the other thing. She cannot afford to lose her job.
But she's very good with her money. She's got a bunch of money saved up. She pays all of her bills on time. She's keeping up that. So
does she still have a savings? Because she just bought that computer.
She does.
Oh, okay.
Quite a bit. She's got quite a bit of savings.
Must be nice living at home with mom and dad. I'm just saying.
She pays rent.
Oh. If I was given that option, I would be home too.
So anyway, she's doing well, but she's got a lot of complications. Brigger's doing well, but he's got a lot of emotional complications.
Welcome to adulting. That's what I said to Briggs.
Yeah, you tell Briggs, well, it sucks being an adult. He's like, yeah, it does. This sucks.
Welcome to it.
So, and then here we are. We no longer have kids around helping us pick up and here, grab the other end of that table. I mean, we don't. But the good news is I've been losing weight.
Yes, you have.
And I got on a kick about dedicating myself to losing weight fast. And what have I said? Every time you've wanted to order fast food or something, what have I told you?
No.
Don't want to do it. You know, the only thing you got me to eat was In-N-Out Burger because I know In-N-Out Burger is a little more healthy. Otherwise, I told you I'm not going to eat anything till we get home.
Yeah.
And when you ordered yourself food, I said I'd rather just have a sandwich. I'm really dedicated in that direction right now. I'm
Yep.
going that way.
And we did okay the last couple days on our own
Because we're doing fine by ourselves. We're like grown-ups.
because we had to move some things around here in the studio, and studio was down for 24.
It was tough, especially getting up early this morning. And by the time I got up, I took some pain pills, got downstairs. You'd already done the rabbits, the chickens, and you were trying to figure out what to do. You just were a little lost on, okay, I got this part. What's that part?
Yeah.
But you were going. You had your work gloves on. You had a tank top on, hair in a ponytail, and you were good to go.
Yes, I was.
Well,
Get the shit done.
we struggled with it for about an hour and a half, but we got it, and we were still able to do the World Show.
Yes, we did. We made it in time.
Yeah, so that was a plus to get that done. And then, of course, we're a day behind on this, so I'll edit this and post this right away.
Yeah.
But we're getting there.
You know, since you brought up the World Show,
Yeah,
I got to tell you that the last couple World Shows, I moderate for you.
right.
And the last couple World Shows, you do them early in the morning so you can get the Europe group.
Yeah.
And
We do 10 o'clock here in California.
Yes.
And it's 6 o'clock in Europe, roughly.
Yes,
6
well,
and 7.
starting there. But she's covered so many topics and views, and it just kind of flowed. And it was great listening to it. And you had so many comments from people saying that the subjects that you talked about, everybody enjoyed, and they were condensed, and they were just so easy to understand. And it was. I kind of like it when you go over those topics. I just wanted to let you know
Well,
that.
I appreciate that. The last 2 world shows, for me, felt like they were flowing with topics, and it kind of brought itself around full circle.
Uh-huh.
And that's the last 2 world shows are the ones I've gotten the most conversations about.
Well, why don't you tell people what the World Show is? Because it's different than any
Well,
of
the
the other
Bottom of the
live
Glass
streams.
Nation show, we do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6, and that 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. And that turns out to be anything we want. We can talk about old stuff, new stuff, politics, sports. We goof around,
It's
we drink.
everything.
It doesn't matter. It's just a big fun show. We're drinking and we're having fun.
Right.
The World Show we do once a week, Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And normally we talk about things around the world. If China's doing some stuff, if, when the Israeli thing was going on heavy, when the stuff in the South China Sea. But we have people we talk to from those locations.
Right.
We have people in Germany that send me messages and send me email and say, hey, if you're going to talk about this immigration thing where they broke through the wall and thousands poured through, I'm 3 blocks from there. And I can listen to people that talk about it right when it happened, what was going on. And in turn, I give them what I see looking out my front door. The World Show is a very personal show because there's people all over the world that will share with me, so I don't have to watch it on the news. They'll share with me exactly what's going on.
And the last 2 shows have been about America because they're seeing on their television the things that are happening with us in this election and the assassination attempt on Trump, and they wanted a little more information on that subject, and you just gave it to them really simple terms of what's going on. And I saw in the comments that a lot of people have enjoyed it, so
it worked out really well.
Yeah,
It did.
I just wanted to tell you that. Thank you for making it simple, and
I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Why is there a note in here about fruit salad?
Do you remember, because I posted something on Instagram which was so funny. Do you remember the fruit salad or fruit thing you used to get in the cans? Did your mom ever buy that? You could get them small for your lunch pail.
All right, now hold on. Maybe we're not talking about the same thing here. Because when you say fruit salad, isn't there like a white whipped cream or something that goes in a fruit salad or some sort of...
Okay, well, maybe
This was what I called, what you're describing, my mom called a fruit cocktail.
Okay,
And
fruit cocktail.
They're fruit cocktails in a can. Yeah, we had them all the time. The only thing I remember, since you brought it up, the only thing I remember about those that I didn't like, I love green grapes. But the grapes that came in fruit cocktail in the 70s and 80s,
they were weird.
Had the skin peeled off.
Yeah, they were weird.
And I hated them. My mom goes, eat them anyway. I'm like, no. She goes, you love grapes. I go, I don't know what those are, but they're not grapes. And then she showed me the outside of the can and go, look, there's a grape. And then I would show her what's in the bowl. I go, does that...
It didn't match.
Does that look like what's on the can?
And you remember you only got like 1 cherry in it, like a half a cherry.
Yeah.
There was never like two halves.
No, but there's 3 on the can. When you look at the picture, there's
But that was like a staple. My mom used to put it in Jell-O. Like we used to have, that was like a treat to get Jell-O, but she used to put Jell-O or the fruit cocktail in the Jell-O and then put it in the refrigerator.
Okay, so see, now I'm starting to see that my mom was shortchanging me. She would give me things in the can with a spoon.
Well, I did that. I mean, I got it for lunch.
I got black olives in a can with a spoon.
For lunch?
Well, for probably our snack here. She used to open up a can of tuna and give me a fork and I'd eat the tuna right out of the can. Now I'm starting to think that wasn't so normal.
No, that was okay. It was just like, I was just thinking about the fruit cocktail thing because I put it, on a thing for the internet or on the Instagram and people were talking about it. It wasn't just us. That was like a staple in every household.
Well,
I thought it was just us. I thought it was very fancy to have that, But your grandma always used to, when I used to take the kids up for summer vacation and we used to go up there and hang out, she used to make that green like marshmallow salad.
I hated that thing.
With
it had a layer of marshmallows and cream across the top, and it was green Jell-O with raisins in it. And sometimes she'd put walnuts in it.
I don't know if the kids got it with the raisins.
I
think there was fruit salad in it. I think it was fruit cocktail.
Walnuts chopped up in the green Jell-O with raisins. And I'm like, this is gross. Who would do this?
You never got to experience our kids going up there, and your grandma made the same meal every single time we went up there.
Yeah.
The sausage casserole.
It's so good.
Which you love. The sausage casserole, which you love. And then we always had this Jell-O salad thing going on, and the kids... they were very sweet and they'd take a little scoop of it, but I loved it.
When my mom made me do that, I would take a spoon and scoop out just the green Jell-O. Because you could find space between the raisins and the walnuts and scoop out. That's all I would do because I couldn't eat the rest of it.
Oh my God, I couldn't stop eating that. I loved that stuff. Maybe because I grew up on it.
Do you know the one thing? I'm going to say a dessert that no one's going to know.
What's that?
I'm going to list a dessert and I don't have the recipe. I'm sure I could get it from my mom. But my grandma used to make this every birthday.
What?
Chocolate melody.
I have the recipe.
Why don't you ever make it then?
Because it's very hard to find the chocolate wafers for it. What are you raising your eyebrows at me?
Because you just yelled at me when you got back from Las Vegas about the Oreo boxes.
Oh, well, I'm not going to use that. You know what? Okay, this is one of my pet peeves. This is how he eats his Oreos.
Wow, you're really having a hard time here. What?
So when I go to eat the Oreos, the only thing that's left in the Oreo bag is the chocolate wafers. You eat the
mostly, yeah.
You eat the middle. You eat the white stuff and put the wafers back into the bag.
Well, okay. First of all, I take 2 Oreos, take them apart, and make a double stuff.
No, you make a double stuff.
Sometimes a double stuff, but I do eat the 2 chocolate wafers with that. It's not like I just have a ball of the icing.
I've seen you lick off the white stuff off the Oreo.
Nah, that's not my thing. I double up on them and stuff. But yes, I put most of the chocolate wafers back. Now, if you're going to complain you can't make chocolate melody because you can't find chocolate wafers, I think the words you're looking for are thank you.
No, not with your germs all over it.
Oh, for God's sakes.
No way.
Yeah, to be fair, my grandmother, as she got on in years and they quit making those, it was getting very hard to find a sleeve of just these specific... I think they were Hershey or Nabisco chocolate wafers.
I think they were Nabisco because your Uncle Frank came down and I told him the same thing because he asked me, did you do the recipe? Because I think he was the one that gave it to me.
Right.
And I said, I can't find the chocolate wafers.
Right.
And so I think he went off during the day or something and he ran it at Albertsons. They had them and he bought them. And, I don't remember why we didn't try it or something.
Well,
I don't know.
I just know that the 2 things that no woman I've been married to, no girl I've ever had as a girlfriend.
Oh, here we go.
Have never been able to make correctly is snickerdoodles and chocolate melody.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say the other one.
What?
The one you want for every birthday.
Rarebit.
Rarebit.
You
I
make- you
have
make
mastered that.
You got Rarebit down.
Oh yeah, I've now mastered it. I thought you were going to bring that
No,
up, and I was
I'm
going to rip
total-
your head off.
You did Rarebit good, although nobody knows what Rarebit is. In fact,
You know what rarebit is?
you call it shit on a shingle.
That's what we call it. Rarebit is like
I don't
an English.
call it that. I don't call my favorite food shit on a shingle. You do.
Us Americans know it as shit on a shingle. The Europeans know it as rarebit. It's Welsh. It's a Welsh.
Whatever. It's delicious, and I make you fix it for my birthday every year.
Yes,
Christmas,
yep.
I get rarebit.
And I have mastered
And
that.
all the kids go, please don't make us eat that.
I don't.
We have regular food.
I don't.
But chocolate melody and snickerdoodles, I've never, ever, ever found any. Okay, one girl 2 times made him perfect, like grandma. And that was my younger brother's first wife.
Okay.
And then when they got divorced, there goes
your snickerdoodles.
There goes my snickerdoodles. I'm like, dude,
And
just
they're off and running.
stay married to her just for the cookies, man. So, but that was it. So
It was just because your grandma put a little love in it.
Girls always make them flat. They're never fluffy. And when they are fluffy, they don't taste right. It's like you guys can't get it. You can't get 2 hits in one single. It doesn't happen.
All right. Hey, I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever build little model cars? Remember when you can go to the store and there was like an aisle of model cars and they were like
What
under
were they
10
called?
bucks?
Rydell? I think that was the name of a little yellow. I'm trying to remember the manufacturer, the most common manufacturer. Their basic models was Rydell or Ryel or something in yellow. Yes. My mom started me on those when I was probably 6, and they were snap together ones. And I had all these prehistoric animals that you'd assemble by snapping them together. Well, at 5, 6, 7 years old, that was difficult, but I did them all. Then she got me into ones that you would snap together and some glue. And I kind of fell out of favor with it when you got to where you had to paint them. Because my mom, you couldn't paint anywhere near her house. She wanted you to paint. She'd go down the street to your friend's house and fuck up their house. But I did for a while there. Yeah, I had some.
So you like doing them? Like
I
I wanted to do one so bad, and my dad was like, "No, that's a boy thing." I wasn't allowed to do it.
Now, see, you almost made him sound dumb. That's a boy thing. You almost did a little bit. You
But that's what
almost
he
did.
said. He wouldn't let me do it.
Well, what to tell you? What am I going to tell you? He let you do everything else. You learned how to you learned everything in a hardware store. You know what toggle bolts are.
Yes, I do.
I mean, you know a ton of stuff.
I know different tools too.
You know, that's the thing that bothers me. Like today, something that bothered me is like you played it off like you didn't know. You're just lazy. I told you, I said, go get a long screwdriver and grab some electrical tape because we're going to have this wall is 6 inches thick. We're going to have to push a screwdriver all the way through it. We're going to have to electrical tape the coax and pull it, drag it back through. And it showed you how to do it.
Right.
Because it couldn't be too thick. It had to be super thin.
Yeah.
And electrical tape is inherently smooth and slippery on the outside.
Right.
But you didn't want to go look for that. So you came back with fucking gaffer's tape that fucked everything up and made the job take longer. And we had to go back and redo the whole thing.
Because years ago, the gaffer's tape, the duct tape, the electrical tape, do you hear the common denominator here? Tape was in the tape drawer.
Yeah.
I didn't know we moved it.
Well,
now it's not electrical tape. Hence the word tape is now in the electrical drawer.
Yeah, there's electrical plus.
Why isn't duct tape in the duct drawer?
We don't have a duct drawer.
Why isn't gaffer tape in the gaffer drawer?
Because we don't do studio lighting all the time. Now listen to me. Duct tape and gaffer's tape are big. They're like 2 inch to 3 inch wide.
Right.
So we got to put a drawer that's a deep drawer to hold all that. The electrical tape, when you lay it down, is what? Half an inch tall, 3/4 of an inch tall? Right. So you put it in the drawer in the automotive toolbox, and the top 2 drawers of the bottom box are electrical stuff. It makes sense that they're in there. There's like 20 rolls in there.
Whatever.
You just didn't want to go get it. So we suffered. And then you act like, oh, I didn't know. And it didn't dawn on me till later. Go, she knows. You know exactly the difference between electrical
I do
tape
know
and
the
gaff.
difference. I didn't know you moved it.
But earlier you're like, oh, golly, I didn't know what that was.
No,
And
I
so-
didn't. I said it wasn't in the drawer.
Oh, for God's sake.
You were full of shit. You were making a big, huge story out of nothing.
It was a big, huge story because we spent like 40 minutes doing
here
it
we
your
go.
way.
That's a big fish story if
Oh,
I've
my
ever
God.
heard it.
I swear to Christ.
Unbelievable.
You know what? You got your version and I got the truth.
No.
Yep, that's the way it
No.
goes.
No.
That's from Tango and Cash, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more thing.
All right.
Then you can go talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about,
Oh,
okay?
why are you leaving? You can.
That's a great
I
idea.
got one more thing, and then I'm leaving. You can finish the show.
out.
Whatever you want.
I'm bouncing.
Okay, go.
You know, when the kids were all growing up, we had this, our kids were kind of the 8 kids. We had like an older group and then like sort of kind of a younger group. But,
Yes.
And the younger group, you were showing all the kids 80s movies. Remember we did Friday night pizza and a movie night?
Oh, yeah, for
We
years.
did it for years.
Yeah.
And you always, as they were getting a little older, you started to show them like 80s movies,
Right.
old 80s
Yeah.
movies. As a Gen Xer, do you think you have a top 5 list of movies that all Gen Xers should show their kids? 'Cause it seems like we introduced them to quite a few, but
I will tell you that you've heard me say this before because it's not just our kids, with other kids that have come and talked about what was it like growing up in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, and I say, well, if you really want to have a beginning of an understanding of what my life was like, I tell them to watch 2 movies to start with.
okay.
Breakfast Club and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I go, if you start with those 2, you get a lot of insight on what it was like at that age and time
In high school,
in high school.
for sure.
And so those are 2 that I say whenever parents want to, or Gen Xers want to show, here's what my life was like, or here's some movies that tune you in, I always start with those 2. Now, you can start with whatever ones you
I
want.
think the Breakfast Club is generational. It can go, I think those 3 kids or versions of kids or however you want to call it, genre of kids is in every generation. You can find it. You can
Maybe.
find the jock. You can find the trouble kid. You can, it's always there. And I think our kids have said that too. After they've seen that, they're like, I know exactly who those kids are in my high school.
Yeah, I guess there'd be a part of that, but I don't let them take it because it's ours.
I understand.
It was our music. It was our style of high school. It was our clothing. It was our. So yeah, you can say, "Oh, it was just like that in 2000s." Fuck you. That's my movie. go away. That's my movie.
Well, are there 3 more that you would like recommend? That
I don't know. There's so many movies that were so good over so long.
for a girl, so 16 Candles is a good one.
Yeah, I could see that.
Every girl has that crush on the boy that's untouchable kind of thing, has that story.
Yeah. I don't know. When I brought up if I had to pick 5 movies, I'd pick, Breakfast Club, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Karate Kid, Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, I'm just throwing out some comedy that it does have some little meaning behind it. And, I don't know, stuff like that comes to mind, but there's so many. I don't know where you'd even, I don't think I could narrow it down to a top 50. There's so many good movies.
I
out
was just
there.
curious. Yeah, because we showed them a lot. You did Back to the Future with them.
There's the other one, Back to the Future. There's my top 5.
You showed them all of it. It was really fun because the kids really enjoyed it watching.
Well,
it.
I think you made those years more special because you were I worked. Like you just mentioned, you took the kids up to Oregon to visit grandparents and great-grandparents. I didn't go.
No.
You stopped by your brothers. You saw the Sun Valley Fox. You spent a couple of days there. Then you went up north. You spent a week or so up there. Then you came back. I worked.
Yeah.
I stayed here with the animals, the dogs, and just kept going. It was the same at home when you guys were all here. You'd tell me, come home, be here on time.
Bring pizza.
Bring pizza or something because it's pizza and a movie night, and you do the whole thing. You had popcorn. You bought those little special popcorn little canisters that look like they're from the movie theater.
Yeah.
I mean, you really went out of your way. You got
The kids looked forward to it
the
every
squirrely
Friday.
straws, the little
Yeah.
zippy straws that did all the
Crazy straws.
Crazy straws, yeah. You really went out of your way to make those events wonderful for the kids. So I'm sure they got a lot out of the movies, but they were already hyped for the whole event. And we did it almost every night, every Friday night.
Friday. We tried to do it every Friday for years.
For years. I mean, you're talking about 6-7 years. So
Yeah.
it was a lot. It was, and I think you say, yeah, well, you give me credit because I picked the movies. Yeah, but I was in the mood for it too because you got me into it. I loved going there, having pizza and a soda and a movie, and then I got to tell the kids about what I knew about the movies, where they were filmed, because they filmed a lot of those movies near where we grew up.
Right.
So I got to tell them
Exactly.
people I knew that were in the movies, kids I grew up with. There was a lot of personal stuff that went through that too with me.
All right. Do we have anybody sponsors that we need to talk about today?
Um,
I think that I overheard something of a controversy with Bad Dog, but I'm not
well,
sure. Is it a
was
controversy?
Not really. Not with them as much. Well, Bad Dog Tools is they only make like drill bits and cut off wheels and nibble. I mean, just a few things.
Yeah.
And
that's
I'm
what
telling
told
you
me.
from my experience, they're fucking wicked cool.
Okay.
So one of the shows, Jacob, who's our brand manager, we're trying to do, he's like, I said, hey, I'm going to do a little drill test and with Bad Dog drill bits. And I said, we'll put up some cameras. We'll do it during a garage show and I'll drill. I'll just take a drill and I'll put a DeWalt bit in, the same size, and then use Snap-on, and then we'll use Bad Dog.
Didn't you do that last week during a live stream?
Well, we did it 3 weeks ago, and it just got all fumbled up and fucked up.
Okay.
Then we missed a week, but then we came back and I did it last week. That's the one you did with me.
Right.
So I do the test, and I drilled the concrete. I took a concrete bit, which was a good Bosch concrete bit, and drilled right through a block of concrete. I went through solid concrete, like a curbstone.
I remember that.
And the drill bits went through pretty quick. But when I used the Bad Dog, it fucking went through like butter. I mean, it was nothing. And the hole wasn't bounced around oblong. It was a clean, almost like you took a laser to it. It was impressive. I'd never done one before like that. That was awesome. And then we did a brake rotor the week before, and this one, I took a hardened front brake rotor, and I drilled the 3 drill bits into it, and they all went through about the same with the smaller bit. The bigger bit that DeWalt struggled with, Snap-on struggled with, the Bad Dog bit went deeper, further, and faster in the 30 seconds that 40 seconds that I did each one with. I did all the same pressure, all the same time, and a brand new bit for each one, and it just kicked ass. The Bad Dog bits kicked ass. All right. So I went to a 1-inch square tube steel,
Right.
and this one's pretty tough steel. Now, the DeWalt has a pilot built in, so it went right in and started. The Snap-on one has a steeper angle cut. It kind of went right in. The Bad Dog took me a minute to get. I should have had a pilot bit. Or I should have pinged it. I should have a little ping and gave it a starting point, a pilot hole, but I didn't, and so it makes it look silly. But once it caught, now we can see. All the bits are ready to go. We drilled 3 pilot holes, 3 times ready to go. The DeWalt bit goes through. The Snap-on bit goes through the tube steel. And the Snap-on went through, the DeWalt went through, and the Bad Dog went through slower. Maybe 2 seconds. Maybe, these got done in 30 seconds. They went through. Snap-on was 30 seconds. DeWalt was 30 seconds. And maybe the Bad Dog was like 32 seconds, 33 seconds. Still cut it. But the Bad Dog dominated in every other area. It wasn't even close. It wasn't like it won by a couple seconds. It fucking kicked ass. So when I showed that to Jacob, his thought was like, I said, I don't know if you want to show the sponsor this. Their tool didn't just blindly win everything we tried. He goes, no, dude, that's real. You're being very fair with it. And I said, well, that's why I did it live. I didn't want to pre-record it. I did it live in front of it. We're broadcasting to thousands on every platform. And I said, look, man, if it fucks up, it fucks up.
Right.
And in that one test, it didn't do as well. So Jacob took that to those guys, and they're like, well, here's what happened. I didn't hear back from them on how they responded to that. Now, did I do something wrong? Because I'll tell you one thing weird about Bad Dog Tools that I didn't know. When you open up their drill bits, it'll tell you inside the box, it's got a little piece of paper in there that says, what you're drilling through, drill at this speed.
Oh.
Now, I've grown up knowing there's low-speed drill bits and there's high-speed drill bits, and you kind of have a range in there. But I've never had a company go, look, this is how precise our cool shit is. Do what we're telling you, and it'll work out flawlessly. I didn't even know that. And I don't have a way on my tools. I just, I can't tell how fast a drill's spinning. It just spins.
Right.
I can slow it down. But anyway, so the only controversy was what to do with that information. It was already out there. I wasn't going to pull it from the internet. I thought it was a fair test, you know. And I've talked with the owners of Bad Dog Tools, the couple that owns the fucking company for 30 years. I love those guys. I'm like, I don't want to damage my friendship with them, you know, if that's what this. But apparently last week they said, hey, make another video. Let's keep going. And now they want to participate, you know, with us as a sponsor.
Oh, very cool.
So however it worked out, they appreciated the honesty.
Well, congratulations.
And I'm thinking that it worked well. So
very cool. That's very, very cool.
now I did an interview with Grill Master Club, and yes, I told them. It became an interview, but we spent 20 minutes talking about you.
Why? How did I come up in this interview?
Well, for one, you told me if I ever interviewed with the owners of them, you told me to make sure that I told them how much you loved their recipe cards.
Yes.
And you loved their the stuff they put in there.
Yeah.
So we had a great conversation. We had a great interview. I haven't posted it yet. But all the things that come in their boxes.
Uh-huh.
Here's something you didn't know that I learned.
What's that?
The owner of the company, he finds mom and pop places that make these things. He finds the ones he loves the best, little ingredients. This one's honey barbecue sauce, and what's the other? There's a dry rub. What's this other one over here?
There's dry rubs that go with it.
The spicy guy, Midnight Toker dry rub, and they give you these things in this box. And he said every one of these is different. Every one of these, his grill masters have personally tasted and used for months before they put it in their box.
And they create the recipes?
They do. The grill masters create the recipes. His guys do. And he says all of these are mom and pops that I'm trying to support.
Oh,
these are
very
all
cool.
individuals. Says, okay, I'll take 200,000 of these because and he's really so everything in the box isn't just his small business. There's 7 small businesses he's supporting inside.
I love it. I absolutely
The
love
guy
it.
is super passionate about what he's doing. He really
Did
is.
you tell him I want more?
Yes, I did. I told him we fight over the stuff that's in there, and we covered a bunch of stuff. The interview, this was a really great interview because this guy said some wholesome stuff that I had to stop him. And I go, hold on. Yeah, I'm right in the middle of his story. I go, hold on, my man. I said, I want everyone to hear what you just said again. I did that twice.
Oh.
Because something he said, and I won't tell you what, you'll have to go listen to it. But something he said was so poignant. I go, nobody talks that way anymore. Nobody has that mindset. I can't believe you just said that. I want to reiterate it. Now continue on with your story. 2 times he caught me off guard with stuff. That's
cool.
They're cool cats. I'm telling you, so far the people that we've been potentially trying to become in business with, they like Gen X Talks. We like their products. And after I do the interview, they're fucking great people. They're awesome. I love talking to them. I'm so glad we made acquaintances with them as friends.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that was kind of how that went.
Well, let's round out our hour and whatever it is. I don't know. I think we're over an hour. I think so.
Well, this is where you guess. We're 2 yawns and how many minutes
From
in?
when we went on the radio station or when you started?
When I started recording. 'Cause
An
we're on
hour and 12 minutes.
hour and 2. You're off.
Okay, I'm off.
Hour and 2 minutes. Yeah, we were on the radio station. Radio station got to hear us setting up.
And talking to each other.
Yeah, we had a long way to go for that.
So, do you have a car story or a few little? You said
There
maybe
was-
some small ones.
Yeah, there was some stuff. Let me see. I made a couple.
Because
things
everybody
here.
likes your car stories.
Well, there's a couple things. And
even though I've heard them all before.
oh my God! Shut your cake hole.
Oh yay! Please tell me again.
You're gonna piss me off, and I'm not gonna say it. Go ahead, keep walking down that road. Go on. All right. So there's something to be said, and this is. Let's say you go in for a transmission service, and you got 200,000 miles on your car, and you haven't serviced your automatic transmission for 70,000 miles, 90,000 miles. There was something that I used to tell customers, and it's still true to this day. If you don't service your automatic transmission regularly and service it correctly with fluid and a filter, and you let it go, there is a chance. And I tell people, I said, okay, you got 300,000 miles in your car, 250,000 miles in your car. You've serviced your transmission once. There is a chance that the moment I'm done putting brand new fluid in it, your car may not move.
What's regularly for a transmission? How often do you do it?
They will tell you 45 to 60,000 miles on most of them, but I do ours at about 25,000.
Every 25,000.
I do. Yeah, 20 to 25,000.
Okay.
That's just what I do.
So on something that's, 250,000.
Should add 10 of them.
Okay, go ahead.
And they got one. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to describe this correctly, but automatic transmissions pump fluid around the transmission to make things push and go and turn.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a lot of little valves and passageways and tunnels and plungers. Everybody knows how a plunger works, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you were just to fill up your transmission with water, no transmission fluid, would it work?
Maybe a little bit.
Why?
Because it's liquid, it's wetting it, but it's not going to be staying there. It'll dry up, right?
Well, no,
Water
I'm
will?
not going to dry up in a minute. Let's say you filled up your whole transmission drained it all out with fluid, filled it up with water, started up the car, hasn't drained anything out, hasn't evaporated. You're right there. Could you put it in gear and go? Could it pump that water around and move everything like a transmission's supposed to?
I'd say for a short time.
Okay, why wouldn't it? Why would it work for a short time but not work after a little bit?
Well, I'm just going back to the same old. It's going to evaporate. It's going to
Okay,
disappear.
let's forget the evaporation. Get that out of your
Then
head.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's just go with I don't know.
Water won't work because it's not thick enough.
Okay.
Oil is thick. Oil you can plunge. You can siphon, you can push with rubber, you can seals. Oil, transmission fluid,
I'm going to say
transmission oil.
lubricates it too, right?
Well, lubricates it, right. But it has to be able to push it. Water, as the water would be pumped through all these veins, all these tunnels, it would just slip around everything. It's too thin.
Okay.
Okay. Keeping that in mind, that water is much too thin, that it would just pump and just skip, it would slide right around it. But oil's thicker. Oil, when it's pumped in there, would begin to move things. It would hit seals and expand seals and move correctly. When your transmission gets super wore out because you didn't do anything with it for 80,000 miles, but keep adding fluid to it, it's almost like a sludge. The transmission fluid is now thick and sludgy. The seals are swollen. And everything's moving how it's supposed to. You're driving it down the road. All of the thickness of the fluid and the debris that is in there is actually what's holding everything together. And if I service your transmission and I drain everything out, and I drain out all the sludge and all the thick fluid because everything's worn out. It's like if you opened and closed your front door 17,000 times, and all of a sudden you look like, well, I can see daylight through my door. Why? I can see daylight coming around the creases of my door. Why? Because you open and close the door 17,000 times. You wore it out. Now there's a gap because that door can only open and close so many times. Now it's wore out, and now there's daylight. There's air coming around your door. There's no more perfect seal anymore. That's the way the transmission parts are. They wear out. They don't fit. But thankfully, you've got such sludgy, shitty fluid in there, it takes up the gap. It's holding everything in place. Just like if you had grease in a pan and you let it get cold, doesn't your grease in your pan turn kind of white?
Yes.
So what if you had grease in a pan and I put in 10 marbles? And as you're letting it cool,
Get stuck.
The marbles are going to get stuck. You can almost turn the pan upside down. The grease doesn't fall out. The marbles don't fall out because the grease is holding everything in place. As soon as I drain your transmission and I service the filter and I put clean, fresh fluid in there, it just goes right around everything because you've worn it out, and the only thing keeping it going was the sludgy, shitty fluid that was in there. I'll bet that's happened to me 20 or 25 times over my lifetime that I told the guy, listen, he goes, I'm driving it around right now. I drove it here. It's fine. It shifts fine. It's just time to get it serviced. And I look at it and say, it may not move at all. You may need a tow truck when you're done. And I have to tell him that. I got to put it in writing and I got to have him sign it. And I bet 20 to 25 times over my career, I have done a service and put it in reverse to back it out of the stall and it wouldn't even move. Engine fires up, goes into gear, but it won't move at all. There are times when you wait so long on a servicing your car that when you actually go to service it, you're causing a problem. Don't wait. Service your car on time. Now, there's another one too. Oh, there's a couple of things in there. Did you know how we were kids, not as much when we were kids, but they were kind of going away, that there was hood ornaments.
Oh, yes. Yes.
In the 70s, a big Cadillac, Ford LTD had a real
You're
tall.
right. They're gone.
They're all gone. Yeah.
They used to have like a cable too. Like when you bent them down, they'd pop right back up, right?
And there was a reason for that.
Why is that?
Which is the same reason why they're gone. Because back in the 40s and especially the 50s and 60s, they would put these big, beautiful hood ornaments on. A mermaid, an airplane. They would do all these things. And they say when you bumped into a person, you'd hurt them. You'd stab them. You'd poke them. I'm thinking, now I used to think, well, the probably getting run over by a Buick wasn't good for you either. I don't know that I'd be worrying about the hood ornament too much, but some lawyer made a case, well, you should just really endangering people. So by the 70s, you're right. They put them on little cables so they'd fall over.
Yeah, they would.
And they wouldn't hurt you. They wouldn't poke you or gouge you as much. And that wasn't good enough either. Apparently, the lawsuits were still coming in and people were still getting hurt and there was still an issue with it. And so they ended up doing away with it. Plus the times that we live in, trying to make things quieter. You know, when you had a 75 Lincoln Continental that was 26 feet long and 8 feet wide and, weighed 10,000 pounds, you really weren't worried about road noise, about aerodynamics. It was a big, square, boxy Lincoln going down the road. But as time went on, and by the time we got to the 90s and the 2000s especially, cars were bubbly, rounded, aerodynamic. And a hood ornament was the opposite of all that. So that's when they went to badges on the car or a decal or a sticker. And they got away from that. But yeah, hood ornaments.
I forgot about hood ornaments. Just like curb scrapers.
Yeah.
I think they should bring those back.
There's a lot of kids that need curb feelers. Yeah.
Yes, curb feelers.
They need curb feelers.
Yeah, those need to come back.
That was a few things. There was a brief time that they had bumpers, square pads of bumpers that were water balloons.
No.
Yeah. So if you hit somebody, because bumpers used to be very functional. Very safety. They had like shocks and they would collapse. They would really save you. They were big steel bumpers.
Yeah, they used to have it was steel and they'd have rubber.
Yep.
Like pads in certain areas. I remember
Imagine
that.
where those pads are. They used to have big pads like made out of the material like of a bouncy house or a tent.
Yeah.
And they held water. So as you hit it, the water would explode and it would...
Just for cushioning.
And the bumper would do its job. But there was so many problems with those. They lasted 6 years on a lot of car manufacturers tried them, but they leak. You got to repair them all the time. You got to keep them full of water.
Bad boobs.
Bad boobs. They look ugly. I mean, It just didn't pass. But that was another thing. I'll bring up one more thing that I actually drove one time. When you're sitting in the driver's seat, you're sitting in the driver's seat and the steering wheel's here. You know how you can pull a lever and the steering wheel could pop up?
Yes.
Tilted steering wheels.
Right.
They actually had telescoping steering wheels in Cadillacs too. But you could flip the lever and the steering wheel popped up, 4 inches or whatever. There was actually vehicles that had a swing away wheel.
Oh.
You pull the lever and the steering wheel would actually swing like towards your radio. It would go to your right and in a little bit, but give you quite a bit of room to get out.
I've never seen that before.
I drove one, and I can't remember the car. It was my grandpa's friend or Uncle Frank's friend. And I went, holy shit. He goes, yeah, it flipped that, and it moved out of the way. And I can't remember the car, but I remember being impressed by that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, there was a swing-away steering wheel that actually not just... A lot of people our age remember the tilt-up wheels.
Yes.
Pretty common.
It used to pop almost, pop up.
They were on springs. Yeah, they pop right up. But very few people would remember the swing-away.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah. My grandpa was a Cadillac man.
There you go. Now you know. So
well, very cool.
I'm not sure if this... You see, we fucked up in the beginning of this podcast.
How'd we do that?
Because when you talk to people who do podcasts, they say the first story you talk about should be powerful and funny and get everybody laughing. And we start telling stuff about our kid's a fuck up and he's sad and he's got emotional problems and he's not doing good. And then Jade talking, she's longing for her boyfriend and how
that was
depressing.
The first thing we talked about.
It's pretty close. So
So what's your problem?
That we probably lost half the listeners because we're fucking boring.
True. Not true.
All right. Well, I will edit. I will publish this as quickly as possible.
All right.
And then we will try to get on. I'm trying to where are we at? Oh my God, we're at 3:30 and we got to try to do a garage show tonight.
Yeah.
That we may not make it to that because of the setup and the heat,
Yes.
but we'll try. Anyway, we're pushing through our day. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for sticking it out and listening to us. If you had an hour and 14 minutes and 36 seconds to waste, I'm glad you chose to waste it here. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
All right, so all of you listening in radio and TV land, we got to go. Not sure where you're listening in from, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps along the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember two things, wherever you go, there you are. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.